Good afternoon, preppers. Welcome to Goshen Prepping. Thank you for joining us. As America and other countries send more and more weapons to Ukraine, and Russia continues to actually have its tenacity to push the lines, a line is actually developed on the battlefield in which there is developing an impasse. It's not moving in either direction, and if it is, it's not very much. Desperation is actually developing on both sides of this line. And on the Ukrainian side, going to war? Good news, the United States is 13 years behind in ammunition production. The Biden administration this month proposed a record-breaking $842 billion budget for the Department of Defense. Missile and munition stockpiles are dwindling as the U.S. continues to send the aid to Ukraine. And here is the important part. Since production capacity changed after the Cold War, we haven't made as much munitions. The U.S. can no longer keep up with wartime demands. As an example, currently the U.S. produces just over 14,000 rounds of 155 millimeter ammunition every month. Those are shells, for example, like from the howitzer. And Ukrainian forces have previously fired that many rounds in just 48 hours. U.S. officials in January proposed a production to increase up to 90,000 rounds to keep up with demand. Ammunition availability might be the single most important factor that determines the course of the war in 2023. That's it. So we can definitely see on the Ukrainian side, which in reality is the American side and all the other countries joining in, they're running low on ammo. There's only so much available. And as they do what they can to try to push back against Russia, eventually a time's going to come, sooner than later, that the ammunition is going to make it so they can't hold them off any longer and Russia's going to advance. Or are they? Because Russia is having its problems too. New Russian campaign tries to entice men to fight in Ukraine. A new campaign is underway this spring across Russia that seeks volunteers to replenish its troops for the war. And you can see on the side of the road in Russia, it's an enlistment billboard. Advertisements promise cash bonuses and enticing benefits. Recruiters are making cold calls, and enlistment offices are working with universities and social service agencies to lure students and the unemployed. A mobilization last September had 300,000 reservists called up, and that was just a partial call-up, they said, and it sent panic throughout the country, since most men under 65 are part of that reserve. Tens of thousands of Russians fled. So we're seeing desperation on both sides. Desperation on the Ukrainian side, not getting enough ammo to be able to fight off the Russians, and desperation on the Russian side, where the people don't want to fight this. So where is all this leading? Putin says he could put tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus by summer. This is not a positive development, of course. We're talking about tactical weapons, and Russia has as many as 2,000 of these tactical nuclear weapons, which have a lower yield than the strategic kind, which are designed to attack cities and bases and such. A tactical nuclear weapon has never been used in combat, but could be deployed in a number of ways, including missile or artillery shell. So on the Russian side, as they're hitting the impasse, they are moving tactical nukes to Belarus. And at the same time, we're seeing Putin saying that if Ukrainians fire any type of spent uranium shells into the area, he will actually take that as being contaminating the area with nuclear material. In a lot of ways, he's right. I mean, honestly, the risk of that nuclear material from those shells is pretty light. It's pretty minimal. But nevertheless, I think that's going to be his scapegoat. And if we actually start doing that, because of the impasse, because they are not making the advancements they'd hoped to, this is over a year now they've been going through this, Putin may literally take this to the next level and use tactical nukes in Ukraine. It's never been done before. But if we already actually have nukes going against the Russian soldiers through spent uranium shells, then he literally may see this as simply, well, you know what? You stepped it up, so will I. So we need to prepare for this, because these kind of things get very dicey very fast. And we, as preppers, have to prep at home to be able to prepare for any type of contingency, especially if we actually have some kind of nuclear exchange here in the United States or whatever country you live in. I don't even think about that. All right, so let's keep prepping and hope this never happens. Thank you for watching.